Namaste students, welcome to biology class. So in the previous session we have discussed about three different divisions under kingdom Plantae. They are algae, bryophytes and pteridophytes. In today's class let us discuss about one more division under kingdom Plantae, that is division Gymnospermae. So division Gymnospermae includes plants that are generally called as gymnosperms, and these gymnosperms are a group of embryo bearing plants. So all the gymnosperms produce embryo. You know that we have studied in the previous session, that is in under division Pteridophyta, that pteridophytes form embryo from the zygote, right? Zygote develops into embryo and embryo develops into a new plant body, sporophyte, in case of pteridophytes. So here the pteridophytes form the seed habit, that is precursor of seed habit. Whereas in case of gymnosperms, all the gymnosperms produce embryo. So they are embryo bearing plants. And these gymnosperms, they may be shrubs, they may be small sized trees, or they may be the trees that grow to maximum height or tallest trees. There is a member under gymnosperm which is considered to be the tallest tree. Okay, tallest tree, and this tree is named as Sequoia sempervirens. Sequoia sempervirens. So Sequoia sempervirens is the tallest tree which can grow up to a height of around 370 feet. Which can grow up to a height of around 370 feet. And there are certain members under Sequoia which can grow up to a maximum width. So there is a member under Sequoia that belongs to Sequoia dendron species. Sequoia dendron species, which usually grows to the width almost around 16 meters. Around 16 meters. Okay. So gymnosperms include the tallest tree, that is Sequoia sempervirens, which can grow up to around 370 feet, and there are certain members under Sequoia, that is Sequoia dendron, which grows to a maximum width. The diameter of the tree trunk itself is around 16 meters. So such vast trees are found under gymnosperms. And gymnosperm also include very small plants or very small plant species. For example, there is a type of gymnosperm which grows for only about 25 centimeters. Very small plants which grows only up to 25 centimeter. For example, Zania pygmea. Zania pygmea. So this Zania pygmea is the smallest gymnosperm, whereas Sequoia sempervirens is the tallest gymnosperm. Okay, just remember these names of some of the gymnosperms which can grow up to a very tall height for about 370 feet, and there are certain gymnosperms which can grow very wide, having a width of tree trunk to around 16 meters, and there are certain gymnosperms which are considered to be the smallest gymnosperms, named Zania pygmea, which can grow only up to around 25 centimeters. Okay. Now coming to the plant body of gymnosperms. The dominant plant body of the gymnosperm is sporophyte. Okay, dominant plant body is sporophyte. Sporophytes are diploid. Okay, sporophytes are diploid. So this sporophyte plant body has got a well-developed root system as well as shoot system. It has got a well-developed root, stem as well as leaves. The type of root found in gymnosperms are taproot. So gymnosperms have taproot system. Among these, there are certain plants. For example, members like cycas. Cycas is included under gymnosperms. These cycas have a different kind of root known as coralloid root. Okay, they have got different kind of root known as coralloid root. cycas are found in association with cyanobacteria. Okay, roots of cycas are found in association with cyanobacteria, and there are certain gymnosperms like Pinus, where the roots of this Pinus are found in association with fungal species to form mycorrhizal roots. Okay, so some of the gymnosperms like cycas have coralloid roots, where roots are found in association with cyanobacteria, and there are certain gymnosperms like Pinus where roots of the plants are found in association with fungi to form mycorrhizal roots. Okay, so now let us discuss about the stem of the plant. Stem of the sporophyte of gymnosperms. The stems may be branched or unbranched. Stem may be branched or unbranched. Some of the gymnosperms like Pinus have branched stem, whereas some of the gymnosperms like cycas have unbranched stem. Okay, stem may be branched or unbranched. Example for branched stem seen in Pinus, unbranched stem seen in cycas. Now let us discuss how are the leaves of these plants. Leaves of the sporophytes of gymnosperms. Okay, the leaves are generally modified. Leaves are generally modified to withstand extreme conditions of temperature as well as wind. Okay, so in case of gymnosperms, the leaves are modified. So leaves are mainly modified to withstand the extreme conditions. It may be extreme temperature, extreme humidity or wind. To withstand means to tolerate extreme conditions. Extreme conditions like very high temperature, humidity or wind. Okay, and in some of the gymnosperms, the leaves have been modified to form needle shape. Okay, leaves are modified to form needle shape. For example, in case of Pinus has got a leaf which are modified into needle shape like this. Leaves are modified into needle shape. The leaves are needle shaped and they are very thick. They have got very thick cuticle on the surface of leaf, and these leaves have got sunken stomata. Leaves have got sunken stomata. Remember that the leaves have been modified. For example, in case of Pinus, leaves are modified into needle shape. Needle shape. They have got thick stomata. They have got thick cuticle and sunken stomata. Thick cuticle and sunken stomata. So why are leaves modified in such a way that their shape has been transformed into needle shape, and they have got thick cuticle as well as sunken stomata? This is mainly to minimize loss of water or to minimize transpiration. To minimize transpiration or to check transpiration. You know that the cycas or the gymnosperms mainly grow in dry area or dry hot area where there is high temperature, and in such regions, because of high temperature, the transpiration rate may be high. Rate of transpiration may be high. To check this loss of water or transpiration process, the leaves have been modified such that the leaves have thick cuticle which avoids transpiration, and the leaves have got sunken stomata. Sunken stomata means hidden stomata. Stomata are not exposed on the surface of leaf, they are hidden such that transpiration can be minimized or transpiration can be checked. Okay? So these are some of the features of the sporophytes of gymnosperms. Next, let us discuss about
Division Gymnospermae includes naked seeded plants. These plants produce embryo into seeds, but seeds are not enclosed within the fruits. Maybe small shrubs, or they may grow into small trees, or they may grow into taller trees. This is an example of a smallest gymnosperm named Zamia pygmea. This is one of the tallest gymnosperm called Sequoia sempervirens, which can grow up to a height of around 370 feet. There are certain Sequoia members named Sequoia dendron which can grow up to the width of around 16 meters. The tree trunk of the Sequoia dendron can grow up to the width of around 16 meters. In gymnosperms like Pinus, the leaves are modified to form needle-shaped. These needle-shaped leaves have thick cuticle and have sunken stomata. You can observe here the leaves have been modified into needle-shaped. This modification is mainly as an adaptation to withstand extreme conditions of higher temperature, humidity and wind, such that it can minimize transpiration or loss of water. These are the examples of gymnosperms or the members of gymnosperm. So this is a member of gymnosperm called Cycas, which produces unbranched stem. This is a member under gymnosperm called Pinus, which produces branched stem. So stem of gymnosperms may be unbranched or branched.
body. The sporophyte of gymnosperms are heterosporous. So what do you mean by term heterosporous? Heterosporous indicates the plant produce different kinds of spores. The plants produce two different kinds of spores. So sporophyte of the gymnosperms are always heterosporous. They produce two different kinds of spores. So where are these two kinds of spores formed? In what type of structures these two kinds of spores are formed? So the heterosporous gymnosperm produces two kinds of spores. They are microspores and megaspores. Microspores are smaller spores, megaspores are larger spores. Okay. In certain gymnosperms, these micro and megaspores may be formed in a same plant. In certain gymnosperms, they may be formed in different plant. Okay, remember that microspores and megaspores may be formed in the same plant, or in certain gymnosperms they may be formed in different plant. But these microspores are formed in specialized structures called as male cones, and megaspores are formed in specialized structures known as female cones. Okay, so remember that in case of gymnosperms, there are male cones and female cones. The male and female cones can be found in a same plant, or they can be found in different plant. For example, in case of Pinus, Pinus is an example for gymnosperm. Pinus produces two different kinds of spores, two different kinds of cones in a same plant. Okay, two different kinds of cones in a same plant, whereas Cycas produces two different cones in two different plants. Okay, two different plants. So let us see how is the male cone, how are microspores formed inside the male cone. Okay, so male cone is mainly formed when all the microsporophylls, you know that sporophylls are the leaves or the leaf-like structures where sporangia are attached to them. Okay, so there are microsporophylls and megasporophylls in case of gymnosperms. Okay, so microsporophylls, many of the microsporophylls. So see, this is an example of microsporophyll, or this is the image of microsporophyll. So this is a microsporophyll formed in cycas. This is a megasporophyll formed in cycas. So many such microsporophylls are arranged spirally around an axis to form a male cone. Remember that the male cone consists of many microsporophylls. So this is a single microsporophyll. Many such microsporophylls are spirally arranged around the axis to form a male cone. Okay, to form a male cone. So each microsporophyll has many microsporangia. Okay, each microsporophyll has many microsporangia arranged on it. Each microsporangia produces large number of microspores. Okay, so male cone consists of large number of microsporophylls which are arranged spirally around the axis. Each microsporophyll bears many microsporangia. Microsporangia is a plural form, and each microsporangia produces large number of microspores. Within each microsporangium, there are many microspore mother cells. There are many microspore mother cells. Microspore mother cells. And each microspore mother cell undergoes reductional division or meiosis to form many microspores. To form many microspores. Okay. So generally, if one microspore mother cell is diploid, if it undergoes meiotic division, 4 haploid microspores are formed. Okay. So each microspore develops into a male gametophyte. Each microspore develops into a male gametophyte known as pollen grain. Each microspore develops into male gametophyte known as pollen grain. And remember that the pollen grain or the male gametophyte is very small sized structure or small sized plant body. You know that gametophyte is one more type of plant body. Sporophyte is one type of plant body or one generation. Gametophyte is another generation. So male gametophytes are very small sized plant body which produces gametes. And here these are highly reduced structures. Gametophytes, male gametophytes are highly reduced structures having only limited number of cells. Okay, male gametophytes are highly reduced structure having only limited number of cells, and they are pollen grains. Okay, so inside the pollen grains, male gametes are formed, and these pollen grains are dispersed from the microsporophylls. Pollen grains are released from the microsporophylls. They are carried with the wind current or air current and reach the female megasporangia. Okay, and then they reach the female cone, they get deposited on the megasporangia. So this is about male cone as well as production of male gametophytes. So now we will see what does female cone consist of and how are megaspores formed. So female cone is mainly formed when many megasporophylls are arranged in such a way that they are spirally arranged along the axis or around the axis. Female cone consists of many such megasporophylls. So this is a single megasporophyll of cycas. There are many such megasporophylls. Many such megasporophylls are arranged spirally around the axis to form female cone, and each megasporophyll consists of megasporangia. Each megasporophyll consists of megasporangia. So the structures that you can observe here are the megasporangia. They are the megasporangia. So here you can observe 4 megasporangia. Okay. So this megasporangia is also termed as ovule. Megasporangium is also termed as ovule. So in each megasporangia there are megaspore mother cells, diploid megaspore mother cells, diploid megaspore mother cells which undergo reductional division or meiotic division to form haploid megaspores. To form haploid megaspores. So where are haploid megaspores formed? Inside the megasporangia. Inside the megasporangia, haploid megaspores are formed. Okay. So among these megaspores, one of the megaspore develops into female gametophyte. Okay. Among these megaspores, one of the megaspore develops into female gametophyte. Female gametophyte. Now, the female gametophyte is also a highly reduced structure. It is also a highly reduced structure having few cells or limited number of cells. And inside this female gametophyte, female sex organs are present. And the female sex organ formed in case of gymnosperms is archegonium. Archegonia. Okay, so megaspore develops into female gametophyte. Female gametophyte is also a reduced structure. Okay, it is not free living, it is dependent on the sporophyte, and female gametophyte produces few of the female sex organs, that is archegonia. Okay, so inside the archegonia, female gamete, that is egg cell, is formed. Okay, so this is how the gametophytes are formed from the sporophytes. So we have discussed the dominant plant body is sporophyte. From the sporophyte, how gametophytes are formed. Now we have to discuss about how the male and female gametes are formed, how these two male and female gametes are brought together for fertilization process.
This is the image showing microsporophylls of the cycas, individual microsporophyll, which consists of many microsporangia. Within the microsporangia, large number of microspores are formed and the microspores develop into pollen grain, and pollen grain represents the male gametophyte. You can observe here the male cone of cycas. This male cone consists of many such units of microsporophylls. So many such microsporophylls are arranged spirally around the axis to form a male cone or strobilus. The image shown here represents the megasporophyll of cycas. The megasporophyll consists of megasporangia. You can observe the megasporangia that are arranged in megasporophyll. The megasporangia is also known as ovule. In case of cycas, so this is the cycas megasporophyll which shows the megasporangia. The cycas produces largest ovule in the plant kingdom. Note it down, cycas produces largest ovule in the plant kingdom, and this measures around 6 to 7 centimeter in diameter. The ovule measures around 6 to 7 centimeter in diameter. And this ovule consists of the main body called nucellus. And the nucellus is protected externally by a coat called integument. So ovule consists of nucellus, nutritive filled tissue known as nucellus, and the nucellus is covered or enveloped by integument. This is the strobilus formed by arrangement of many megasporophylls. So many megasporophylls are spirally arranged to form strobilus,
which are mainly formed by many of the sporophylls that are arranged around an axis. Many of the sporophylls are arranged around the axis to form the cones. So here is one more cone. This is the cone of Pinus. Cone of Pinus. Male cone, microsporophylls are arranged, and each microsporophyll has many microsporangia, and each microsporangium has microspore mother cells, and they undergo meiotic division to form large number of microspores, and microspores develop into male gametophyte known as pollen grain. So pollen grains are the male gametophytes, which are highly reduced structures having limited number of cells. The same way, the female cones have large number of megasporophylls. Megasporophylls are arranged around the axis, and each megasporophyle has got megasporangia, and inside the megasporangia there are megaspore mother cells which undergo meiotic division to form megaspores. Among the megaspores formed, 4 megaspores are formed from single megaspore mother cell. So from 4 megaspores, one of the megaspore will develop into female gametophyte, and female gametophyte are also reduced structure having few cells. Okay, they are multicellular female gametophytes. Grains go and fall on the opening of female gametophyte, or the opening of megasporangium, that is ovule. Ovule is also known as megasporangium. Remember that the pollen grains are released from the male cones. These pollen grains are carried with the air current or carried through air current and reach the opening of ovule or reach the opening of megasporangium. Now, the pollen grain will not enter into the ovule or megasporangium. The pollen grain produces a tubular structure, or it germinates to form pollen tube. Pollen grain germinates to form pollen tube. Germinates to form pollen tube, and pollen tube carries the contents of pollen grain. Okay, pollen tube carries the contents of pollen grain, and it consists of male gametes, and the male gametes are carried to the female sex organ that are present inside the ovule. You know that ovule, inside the ovule, female sex organ archegonium is formed. Archegonia, there may be few archegonia present, 1 or 2 archegonia present. So the pollen grain germinates to form the pollen tube. Pollen tube reaches the tip or mouth of the archegonium and then releases the male gametes. Okay. Male gamete fuses with the female gamete to form zygote. Okay. So male gamete is released through the neck of the archegonium and it reaches the egg cell. Male gamete fuses with the egg cell or the female gamete to form zygote. Now zygote form is diploid. Okay, zygote form is diploid. So this zygote then develops into an embryo. Zygote then develops into an embryo. Okay, and once the embryo is formed or zygote develops into the embryo, then the ovule, you know that zygote is formed or embryo is formed inside the ovule. The ovule then transforms into seed. Remember that once the zygote develops into embryo, the ovule transforms into seed. And here you have to remember that the ovule doesn't have any covering or ovary is not present. Since there is absence of ovary or ovary wall, the fruits are not formed here. So the ovule that is transformed into the seed will remain naked. So we consider gymnosperms as naked seeded plants. Why do we call them as naked seeded plants? Because seeds are not enclosed within the fruits. Why fruits are not formed here? Because ovary is not present or ovary walls are not present. Because of lack of ovary or lack of ovary wall, fruits are not formed here. So seeds are exposed without any covering. So we consider gymnosperms as naked seeded plants.
Let us note down the life cycle of gymnosperm. This is the life cycle of Pinus. So this is the sporophyte of Pinus, which produces male and female cones. These are the female cones, these are the male cones. The female cones consists of many megasporophylls that are spirally arranged to form female cone, whereas male cone consists of many microsporophylls that are arranged spirally to form male cone. Each female cone consists of many megasporophylls, and megasporophylls have megasporangia or ovule. Within the ovule, there are megaspore mother cells which undergo meiotic division to form megaspores. One of the megaspore develops such that within the megaspore few archegonia or few female sex organs are formed. Within the functional megaspore, two or more archegonia or female sex organ is formed, and each archegonium consists of single egg cell. The male cone consists of many microsporophylls. Each microsporophylls have many microsporangia, and each microsporangia produces large number of microspores. Each microsporangium produces microspores. The microspores then develop into pollen grain. The pollen grain is released and are carried by the wind current, and they get deposited in the neck of or in the opening of ovule or megasporangium. Pollen grains that are released from the male cone or the microsporangium are carried by air current or wind current and are deposited in the opening of megasporangium or ovule. The pollen grain then produces the pollen tube and releases the contents of pollen grain, including the male gametes, into the archegonium. Inside the archegonium, the male and female gamete fuses or undergoes fertilization to form zygote. Zygote then develops into an embryo. As the zygote develops into embryo, the ovule develops into a seed. The ovule develops into a seed. The seed can give rise to a new plant body. The seed includes the embryo can give rise to a new plant body known as sporophyte. Remember that in gymnosperms, the seeds are not enclosed within the fruits because there are no ovaries or no ovary walls present. This is the life cycle of gymnosperms.
The classes of gymnosperms. Gymnosperms are categorized into three different classes. They are class Cycadopsida, Coniferopsida and Neotopsida. So class Cycadopsida includes members like Cycas, class Coniferopsida includes members like Pinus, and class Neotopsida includes members like Neotum. Okay, and there are certain members that are included under these gymnosperms. For example, there is a member known as ginkgoales, plant name as living fossils. These plants are considered as living fossils. So ginkgo is a gymnosperm which is considered as a living fossil, and these are called as living fossils because they are very primitive type of gymnosperms and they have not changed or they have not undergone evolution for millions of years. Okay, they have not undergone evolution for millions of years. They are the primitive type of gymnosperms. So they are considered as living fossils. Now, let us note down the economic importance of gymnosperms. So, gymnosperms have some of the economic importance, like there are certain gymnosperms where some of the gymnosperms produces seeds and these seeds are edible, okay, especially the seeds of the plant Pinus gerardiana, so it is usually edible. They collect the seeds of this Pinus gerardiana and they roast it and it is edible. Okay? So there are certain gymnosperms where their seeds are edible. Then gymnosperms are used as timber. These gymnosperms have got soft wood, they are used as timber and they are also extensively used in paper pulp industry as well as packaging industry. Then some of the gymnosperms, because of their beautiful leaf structure or beautiful plant producing gymnosperms, they are mainly grown as ornamental plants in gardens. For example, the Cycas pinus plants are mainly grown in gardens for its ornamental value. Then there are certain gymnosperms which have got medicinal value. For example, there is a gymnosperm named ephedra. So this ephedra produces a chemical component known as ephedrine. So from the plant ephedra, ephedrine is obtained and this ephedrine is mainly used for treatment of mainly respiratory ailments. In treating respiratory ailments like asthma, this ephedrine is used. So ephedrine has medicinal value which is extracted from a gymnosperm named ephedra. Then there are certain species of pinus from which resins as well as turpentines are obtained. So these are some of the economic importance of gymnosperms. So we have noted down about the general characteristic features of gymnosperms, the classes of gymnosperms as well as economic importance of gymnosperms.